Hi everybody, Nigel here, Nigel's Modelling Bench, and here we are now with part 2 and the final part of this build of this beautiful little kit from Takum. Well, not so little, but 70-second scale anyway. And it's the #1 turret from the battleship Yamato. Sorry about all the gloss there. So when I left you last time, we had put these rangefinder wings on, and we had them all drying with the rubber bands on, so it's had a few hours now to dry. So we'll get in there with some Mr. Surfacer, and then we'll probably get in with some alcohol or Mr. Kind of leveling thinners to get that sort of seam, so it's just a nice seam, so there's no no gaps there or anything. You can see in the front of there, you can see there's a couple of small holes. So basically that's where the so I'll put some Mr. Surfacer in there first, let that dry, and then go over the top. And that's basically that. You can hear those rangefinders rattling around in there. You've got the, there you go, you can see in there now, you can see that they all move around in there, if I can get the camera to focus in that spot. But yeah, that's whatever. So basically what I've got to do now is get all these greeblies glued on. I'm going to get this done here, get all these greeblies and bits and pieces glued on. As we can see from the instructions, we have lots and lots of bits to go on. Now, I need to be a little bit careful and think about the build sequence here. Something I did notice, they're telling you here to put all these railings and everything on, and then you add all the, they give you like a clear fishing line. I'm going to use something else. I may use some lead wire, I don't know. And then tell you to put this pipework in here. That's going to have to get underneath that, so probably fit this pipework first, I think. The other thing is they're telling you here to put the door in. In hindsight, if I did another one of these, I would fit the rear door first, because then you can glue it from the inside and you won't get any glue marks on the outside. So probably just fit the door and then add the handle and a bit of photo etch afterwards. And then after that's all done, let's only go on and put the guns on, and then that's it. Well, as we know, we've got our guns here. They've had another coat of paint. I gave them another sand out. I had a couple of marks around here, so I've given them another sand out. So basically we can get these unmasked and we can see how good the bags look. We'll just do one of them on camera. We won't do them all up, don't worry. I'm not going to send you to sleep that quickly. And we can see that we've got some lovely seam work there, which is all dried out nice. And then we've got this nice Mr. Surfacer white base ready for our subsequent whatever's going to go on there. I want them to be like a sort of off-white colour. So what I will probably do is brush paint them with some very thin water-based paints, and it'll just sort of run into all the nooks and crannies and stuff and give them a look. But you can see now we've got the look there now with the baskets, the blast bags there. If I was honest, I'd probably do another bit of seam work there, which is probably what I will do, because what's going to happen, these are going to go in. This is number B, letter B, so that's the middle one. I say again, that's like those the Welsh one with the two houses. Mine's the middle one. So that's going to go in there like that, and as we can see, we've got a little bit of work to do to get it to go in neatly around here. Okay, and so what I think I'll do is probably put these greeblies on just for ease of handling. Get this done, probably give it all a sort of quick base coat of something or other, and then deal with this, because the thing is, when I'm handling this and putting pressure on and clamping it and all that, I mean, I don't quite know how I'm going to clamp this, but I'm sure there will be a way. So I can clamp it back and then glue these blast bags in, because you know, it all needs to go in. You can see it goes in, but it just wants to spring out again. And however much you take off the end of those barrels, if you go back to part 1 and look, you'll see I took quite a lot off the end of those barrels and shaved out of here and everything and lengthened the slots, but they still don't want to fit in there perfectly, and I want a perfect fit. It's a shame we can't actually get up inside there and glue them, but maybe I could put some glue on the back of these and then push them in. I don't know. I think it's better to have it all in position and then let the glue capillary around, and then we won't have too much work to do. And then we'll go around with a brush with some white Mr. Surfacer, alcohol, spray all this white again, and then we'll mask this off and paint it. So that's what I'm going to be getting on with off camera, because you don't need to see all that. I'll probably come back to you when I glue these in. But For the meantime, I'm going to get these lumps and bits and pieces on here, I think. Or I might just go straight into getting them on. I don't know. The thing is, while it's all being handled, it might be easier to do it that way. We'll see when I come back. So, see you in a minute. Okay, after many hours of work, here we go. We've got the blast bags all faired in now. We can see, when you look close up, you can see they're all sort of blended in. I made a little bit of a mess of the middle one, but I think it's all going to look great once it's all got its sort of canvas look to it. I think it's going to look fine. I may do a bit more work with it actually, because it has got an indentation in it, so I'll go back to that. I think trouble is with Mr. Surfacer, you need to put it on and then leave it to dry before you work with it. I don't really want to go in there with a cotton bud now with Mr. Colour Leveling Thinners, because there's so much in there I'll start getting gaps again. But we have got them all glued in now. All the guns are nice and true and level and everything. So the one bit of advice I will give you, if you start with the middle one, and basically you can get a long rule, and on here there are a series of eyelets down the centre line, so you can get them without all this crap in the way. It's pretty good. But you can get your rule in here, line it up with those eyelets on your centre line, and then you can get your gun centre line with the rule. So that's what I did to get everything nice and even. It's slightly off, but I think this is actually slightly moved where I've been pulling it all about. But let's see. Oh no, it is okay. It's absolutely fine. You can see there the rule is on the centre line of the barrel, so that's all good. Right, so that's that taken care of. Now what I've got to do is do a bit more work on that one, I think, and then mask these off before we paint the grey. Now I think I'm going to use a liquid mask. I will probably use the Vallejo mask. I've got this one which seems to be okay. I've got these two from Mr. Hobby which I really like, but lately I'm having, I don't know if they go off or what, but I'm having a problem. They just do not come off, and they just come off in tiny little pieces. I'm talking about, you know, probably 100 pieces per square centimetre. I think they've gone off, but I don't have any problem peeling the Vallejo. I may do a little test piece on some sprue or something and see how they all react with the Mr. Surfacer, but we shall see. So we've got the ladders and stuff to go on. We've got this little narrow ladder here that's going to go up there. We've got this ladder on the back, as I said, with the loops on it. We've also got these photo etch pieces which I haven't put on, and the reason I haven't put them on is I want to do the blast bags. Now if I put these on, I won't be able to get in and paint the blast bags, so they go in, literally they slide under there like that, and then they're going to glue in place. Excuse me. They're going to glue in place onto the turret there, but I won't be able to get in there and paint them. So what I'm going to do is paint these separate and then glue them in afterwards, and hopefully they'll look okay. But they basically they catch the blast bag and stop it falling down and getting ripped up on the deck or whatever. Or I guess it stops it dropping on people's heads as well. But you can see they go in there, they fit in there lovely, and that's it, all job done. And they're really nice. One thing I did find, if you are building one of these, normally I would bend photo etch. If I'm not going over 90 degrees, I would bend with the engraved line towards me. So basically have the bend line on the etch up to the bender and then fold it. This doesn't like doing that. It wants to go the other way, so basically you need to be bending it upside down, if you like, to the description I just gave you. You can see this one here I tried first, and you can sort of see that it's kind of sort of tried to bend down the centre line of the holes because it just did not want to bend on that bend line. So there we go. That's a little tip for you to remember for the future. I actually am currently bidding on a 35th scale 15.5 centimetre Yamato gun because I want to build that one as well. So hopefully I'll win that one, and then we'll do a video build of that, because this is like a really impressive model. You spend like a day or two building, you know, do a bit of filling here and there, a bit of sanding, you know, a bit of a few little add bits of wire and that, and look at the box, empty. So it's like a really quick little project. It's sort of almost like a weekend build. All I've got is these few bits in here. You can see there for the deck, that's my wire loops there for to replace them going over here at the back of the turret. And then we've got 4 ladders. There, we've got these 2 bits of photo etch I just showed you. And then I've got these bits of photo etch here, and these are the little railings that go around the edge and I'm assuming they're like grab rails to catch you if you fall, or if you're working on it you can strap yourself onto them. But they go around the edge here, and they're going to go on. They don't look very good actually, because they should be like round tubes, but I think what I might do is, I've done it before, is put them on, because they're quite two-dimensional, because they're flat metal sheet. I might put some enamel paint or some varnish and paint them, and then the varnish will actually fall the way down either side, and you kind of get this more round look to it. I'll show you when I do that. But I think that's what I'm going to get on next, is these bits, because we've done all the rough sort of clamping and everything. You can see now that I've done this thing here, which is called a practice aiming device or something. I'm sure that that's either a conduit for a power cable, or it's a drain for condensation. But I'm sure that is like a fan in there that's drawing fresh air in, or circulating air within there, just blowing down on them, because it probably would have got very, very hot in there. But anyway, I'm going to get these on, and I've put I've put the back door in, put the step on the back. We've got the rear periscope there, we've got the main periscope there, we've got the middle gun periscope there, and I've gone round with some Mr. Surfacer on them. I've gone round with some Mr. Surfacer on the door at the back, you can see there. So yeah, all in all, really coming together nicely. My biggest problem now is going to be masking these off to paint the whole thing this beautiful Cure grey, which is absolutely gorgeous. It's a lovely colour, it really is nice. So let's get my ass in gear and start some of this photo etch. Okay, so I'm filming this today is Tuesday the 19th of July 2022, and it is, I've just read on the news, we've just recorded the hottest recorded temperature ever in the UK, 39.1 degrees or something. And yeah, so you can hear in the background, you can hear a fan, and yeah, very, very noisy, so sorry about that. The other thing is, I just want to give a quick shout out to Ed over at Premium Hobbies. Some of you may have had a little bit of trouble getting hold of him last week, and maybe your deliveries have been a little bit delayed. Please go easy on him, please don't send him shitty emails and stuff. He had a loss of a family member, and I think it sort of hit him for six a bit. So, you know, we communicate all the time, and I heard nothing from him, and I was a little bit concerned. So that's basically what's happened, and things will very, very shortly get back to normal. So, so yeah, please, you know, give him a bit of time and respect, and if he has sort of, you know, not replied to your email as quickly as you'd expect, or as quickly as he normally would, then that's why. So but bearing in mind, today is the 19th of July 2022, so if you're watching this in 2023 and it hasn't replied to you, then I don't know what's going on. But I'm just talking about this, you know, this last couple of weeks. So moving forward with the beautiful turret, here we are. We've got those photo etch railings on, and it's always nice to see this when you're doing a kit. The photo etch sheet is empty. So got those railings on. I'll take this tape off as well. I've got that tape on there just to mask off while I put some primer on. I've done a test with some of the Viejo masking fluid on here, and it was absolutely fine. So we'll get these masked up, and then we'll go around the edge with masking fluid, and try and get a nice tidy line in there. But you can see those little railings. I'm not sure what they are. They in the anatomy of the ship, but they're called edge protectors or something. I don't know. But I've gone on with some primer, because as you can see here, we've got, I don't know if you can see down in there. No, I need to get the lighting better. Can you see down in there? I don't think you can. But basically, where the hole is, where the photo etch goes, it's a lot bigger than the photo etch. So I'm going to have to go around with a few dabs of Mr. Surfacer and fill those holes in, because it looks really unsightly. I can see it here, I mean, I don't know if you can. But also, the other reason I've gone over some primer, if we've got any little lumps of super glue or bits of cotton buds sticking out or whatever, it'll show up under the primer when you won't see it in its natural state. So that's the next part of this project now, is to go around. You can see also on the ends where they're folded over, you can see that there's like a bit of a gap, so we'll go with some Mr. Surfacer in there and just make it all look like it's one, basically. But they're awful to put on, and I think basically the problem I've been having is because it's so bloody hot. I think the super glue was drying too quickly, but I had a bit of a nightmare putting them on, but they're on now. So yeah, basically we're pushing forward with this, and we are nearly at the finish post. All I have left is these few parts here, and obviously the stanchions for the railings, and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that yet, but we shall see. I'm not going to use the nylon they give us in the kit, that's for sure, because I want to get that sort of, you know, the that way, the droop between each line. So anyway, stay tuned, and I'll see you in a few seconds for you. God knows how long for me. Pushing forward as usual. As you can see, we've got all the masking done on there now. I've used the Viejo stuff around the base, and then I've used the Mr. Hobby stuff here. I'm hoping it's going to come off okay. I'm sure it will, because it's a fairly flat surface. As you can see, we painted the ladder and painted in behind the ladder before we added it. And same on that one, painted in behind the ladder before we added it. And that way we know that we've got paint everywhere. It's terrible moving this thing around. It's so big, it hits everything all the time. Same on that side. I've gone underneath, sprayed all the bottom grey and added these buffers here, you can see. Probably do some brush paint. I'm sure they would be like a chromey colour, I'm imagining. Maybe they weren't. I'll have a look at my references. Again, here, sprayed this area here behind where that ladder is going to go. So, all in all, coming together very well. The only thing I haven't added yet is the stanchions. This rear ladder, if you remember, I said I was going to add some brass loops over the top. Well, I decided not to. I actually, sorry about the noise, we've got some roadworks going on outside. Basically, I actually ended up removing the plastic. If you go back a bit, you'll see that it's like a solid wedge. And what I did, I just went in with a 0.3 drill and just chain drilled the shape and then broke the piece of plastic out. And then just went round and cleaned it all up. And then finished off with a brush of some Tamiya extra thin, and it gives you that nice even shape. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. So we can now glue this on. The other thing I've done, I've gone in here with a 0.5, 0.6 drill, I can't remember now. Went in there and just open up those holes slightly, because there are holes there, but they're very, very shallow. And if we do it like this, it gives us something for the pins on there to locate into. So we can just get that into there like that, and it will actually sit there then, you see. It stay in place rather than just sitting on the surface and falling off. So we've got those, the tops are in position. So we can grab some extra thin and just put a drop in there and a drop in there. And because we've removed all that plastic, we'll have to fill in that little wedge behind. So we'll get that sorted off camera. I just want to make sure that all of this is going to go together nicely, just like that. Then we'll put a drop of glue on each of these at the bottom. It looks like those two there were being held away, so what I'm going to do is a bit of extra thin quick setting. Just like so. Push that in there. Hold that for a few seconds and that should lock in place. And as you can see, we now have a very flimsy model that has a lot of very flimsy areas you have to be careful of. But hopefully you can see on there now, that ladder just looks so much better than having those great big wedges of plastic in the top. So there we go. So that's that done. So now we can get it painted. I think what I'll do is paint the top surface, and then we'll put these railings on, or the uprights for the rope railings. Now these railings, they're moulded, as you can see, with holes in them, and the holes are there. They are great, but I just want to make sure that none of them are flashed over, so I'm going to grab a 0.5 drill and just go into each one and just clean it out, just to make sure, because there's a bit of flash in there. You'll have a bit of trouble getting anything through. And what I want to make sure is whatever I put in there flows through with ease. I think what I'm probably going to do is use some 0.3 wire or something. What I want to do is be able to sag it. So, you know, obviously the rope would sag between each stanchion, and I want to be able to replicate that. And if I use something like Easy Line, I won't be able to do it. If I use something like cotton, it needs to be something that will keep its shape. So I mean, even stretch sprue would be good, or even if I've got some very thin plastic rod. But I think really we would be better off with something like lead or copper wire that will actually hold its shape rather than, because you know, rope would obviously fall under its own weight, but whatever we put here won't be heavy enough to fall under its own weight. I know that you get the Tamiya 1350 scale kits, and they have the option, the hop up, and you get the photo etched stanchions and 0.1 wire, and that's copper wire. So I may just use, you know, some 0.3 copper wire or something. So we'll get the others done. There's 2 lots of these, and then I'll come back when I've got some painting done. Moving back to the base just for a minute, as you can see, there are sink marks where we've got these vertical ribs in here. On a few of them there are sink marks. So what I've done is gone around with some black Mr. Surfacer, and I've just taken a sort of second stab at it because there was some remaining. But my intention is to get rid of these. It doesn't need to be perfect because it's going to be painted. I'm going to do this around here with like LP3 or something, like a semi-gloss black. It'll be almost like black Mr. Surfacer. So it doesn't need to be perfect, but I do want to get rid of the sink marks. So what I'm going to do is spray this area here with like a red-brown colour, I think, and then this area down here will be black. So that's how we're going to go. So you can see just sanding those out. And once we see all the Mr. Surfacer turn dull, then we know it's all sanded and everything's good. What I don't want to do is have to put another layer on because it drives me crazy waiting for things to dry all the time. So there we go, I'll get the sanding done and then I'm going to get some painting done. Right, so I've gone around the edge now with my red brown. I've used NATO red brown around there, so I'm liking the way that looks. And then we've got the black on the bottom. It was kind of sort of just separate it up a bit. So masking up these vents and grills and whatever they are and these hatches, and I thought I'd just show you a little bit about my little techniques for masking. First of all, you know, making these holes, you need one of these circle cutters, which is what John kindly sent to me, which was very, very good of him. So when you come along to do stuff like this, rather than cutting masking tape and trying it up and everything, I get a piece of paper. You can see here where I've been doing it. What I do is I get a piece of paper and let's just put this off size. Okay, so let's just say I want to mask up this one here. Okay, so I get a piece of paper and I've set my cutter, so I go round, I can go like that and I can see, oh, that's too big, and then go a bit smaller, go a bit smaller. I can see that, yeah, that's a touch too small, so I'm just going to go a touch bigger. I kind of wish these things had like a vernier adjustment on them. All you get is like a thumb wheel, and it's very difficult to move it like half a millimetre, you know, or less. So we'll see what that looks like. And there we go, we've got the right size now. So then we can put down a piece of masking tape. Okay, just cut that off. And then grab our circle cutter, cut the circle in the masking tape, and then we can peel it up and lay it down over what we need to mask. Job done. Now when it comes to things like these hatches, as you can see, they've got radius corners. So what I've done is got the piece of masking tape, found the right radius again by using the cutting the paper and then cutting it into 4. And then what we can do is come along here, and if we put our knife roughly in the centre, slide the knife blade over to it, slide the rule over to it, sorry, and then do the same again. Put our knife roughly in the centre, and then when we actually bring the rule up, if we line the line up on there, we're going to get it pretty square. It doesn't need to be perfect, but you want it pretty square. Like that, and then cut across there. And then what you've got are 4 segments, and you can come in and mask each corner and then put the straight pieces in, and you can see that's what I've done here. If I show you that close up, you can see I've got the 4 segments of radius, and then I've put the 4 pieces of tape in to make it up. So that's how we do that. And now I've got bits of scrap masking tape that I can use over here. So I'm going to cut, oh dear, I'll do that off camera. I'm just going to use it to cover all this up. So I'll mask the whole thing up now, mask around here, and then we can do all the grey and get that all done. Okay, a few frustrating hours later, there we go. The base is done. So we've got the red around the edge, and I've managed to chip a bit there, I'll have to touch that in. Red around the edge, got the black on the bottom. Now, I have had a complete and utter nightmare with this, so I'm going to give you a piece of advice. If you remember, I did a video the other day for Clive about the marks coming through using acrylic paint. Sod's law, it happened to me. I basically primed this with, well, painted it with LP3, I think it was, or LP5. And basically what I had was all the marks where I had all the Mr. Surfacer was showing through. So then I tried to seal it in with this stuff here, which was an absolute asshole to paint. It was terrible. I tried thinning it with Tamiya acrylic thinners, which people have said try, and it just kept on drying in the airbrush. So I ended up pulling the needle back, so that when I had the airbrush, I used the Bark Sharp with the 0.5 needle, so it should have been fine. So what I did was, if you can imagine, you push the needle in, okay, I just pulled it back just a millimetre or so, so that it, when I pulled the trigger back, it actually opened the orifice even more, and it flooded out. And it looked great until it dried, and it had all like watermarks in it almost. It was all sort of, I guess it was kind of effective, but it looked like a bad paint job. It didn't look like I tried to do it, so I had to cover it up somehow. So believe it or not, I went over with Viejo. I just wanted to seal it in so that I could put an acrylic paint on there and not get this plastic coming through. So I ended up using Viejo Black, and I used a Viejo Black with Viejo thinners and Viejo retarder, and it went down beautifully, but the marks came through it. So then I went over very lightly, you can hear it's a very light because it's quite a dusty coat, very lightly with Mr. Surfacer, and I thinned it down about 50%, so it was very thin, and I sprayed it very, very lightly to get this kind of sort of, and you can see there's a bit of a, you can still see some of that pattern coming through, that watermarks were, but it's I think it looks quite nice, so that's what we're after. So that's that done. You can see I've done all the grey and all the hatches and everything. So that's basically the base finished. Anybody building this, I would thoroughly recommend you leave this sprue attached, because this has been a fantastic handhold for all this painting. You can imagine trying to paint this outside edge without that there. I mean, you'd be holding it like this, I guess, but you'd always be holding the painted parts. But with this like this, you're never holding any painted parts, so you can sort of move forward rather than have to wait and have to hold this and possibly get thumb marks in it. But this LP12 is gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous paint. It goes down beautifully. Got a bit of fluff or something there, but this is one of the problems with having such a big model. You're in your booth, even though I've got the Bar Sharp big booth, you keep touching the foam at the back and getting dust and stuff, so yeah. But anyway, we're there, we're done. The decking's done, the hatches are done, the red around the edge is done. You can see there I've got the red around the edge. It's all done. Why won't the camera focus? Go on, camera, focus. You know you can do it. It's because it's too close, that's why. So yeah, you can see we've got the red around the edge, we've got the decking on the top, we've got the black on the bottom, so I think it looks great, even if I say so myself. So we can put that to one side. The turret, I've done some more work on the turret, and pretty much now, other than the stanchions and the fitting of the metal plates under here, which I can't do until I've painted the blast bags, we're done. So I've gone round and I've actually just quickly with some LP12, I've painted in where all the stanchions are going to go. I've painted in all the difficult areas and all the areas sort of underneath and everything, and that way when I paint it I can hold it like this and just spray it and not worry about trying to get into all the nooks and crannies. You can see that ladder looks great with that plastic removed. It looks so much better with those plastic wedges removed. And I actually, believe it or not, I forgot to do these. If you look in here, you can see on this ladder here, where are we? This ladder here, I actually removed the wedges from the top, but on that one I forgot to do it like an idiot. So that one's got the wedges at the top, but luckily they are quite small and don't notice very much. I'm certainly not going to take it off. I didn't notice it till after I put it on. I'm a bloody idiot. These things have been a complete and utter ass to do. They've been a complete and utter nightmare. But I've been trying to get them perfect and have them nice and straight. I have just made, just as we're speaking now, I have just made a video review of the Bismarck turret, which I've also bought in 72nd scale. And that is a lovely little model, because it has the stanch. I wish they'd done the number 2 turret for Yamato. But, Yamato, I can't remember, I never know how to say it. I think it's Yamato, isn't it? So basically what we're going to do now is just carry on and get all this painted grey, fit it onto there, put our stanchions in, and we're done. I need to decide what material I'm going to use for the rope. I'm not sure yet. I'm certainly not going to use the nylon they provide because it won't sag like I want it to. But we shall have a little look and have a little play and have a little sort of think about it. So I'm going to get on and do some painting and then I'll come back. Right, so I've had a bit of a change of plan, guys. I've decided I'm going to fit these stanchions before I paint it, and that way then I won't have any worry about glue marks or anything. Now, as you can see, we've got the stanchions here. I've got this one here bent over because I actually managed to snap it when I was cleaning it up. But this frame used to go over the top. I've cut the frame off from the top and then sanded all the tops sort of like a ball shape on them. You can just about probably see on there. So and obviously they've got holes in them. I drew them all out with a 0.5 drill so they're nice and clear, ready for some wire or whatever to go through them. And when you look at here, they're actually fitting them, and then they're telling you here how you're going to actually thread them, make the the thread go through them. So obviously we want to make sure that we get the stanchions in the correct angle. Like, it's no good having this one here with the holes facing that way. The holes need to be facing straight forward. So what I want to do here is get these off, and I've got a piece of 0.3 rod, and what I'll do, like along this length here, obviously I want them all to be dead straight, so I'm going to put them along there. I want them all to be dead straight, and then these here I want to line up, and then that's going to line up with that one. Oh, sorry, I'll have those two lining up, I'll have these lining up, and then the rope will have to take its own turn, of course. So I'm going to cut these off. I'll cut these off the sprue so they're all the same length. So we'll go, you can feel there's a little indentation at the end, you can feel. So you can cut that off. There we go, there's 4 there, and I want, what do I want? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll have 5 of those. I'm guessing the end one will go at 45 degrees, I'm guessing, so what we'll do is we'll put that one at 45 degrees first. So I'm going to get my piece of 0.3 rod, pass that through the hole, and then I should be able to see that I'm on the correct angle. So if I push that in there, hopefully it's a nice snug fit. No, it's not, it's like a prick in the top hat. So basically put that like that, so it's roughly at 45 degrees, and then I think I'm going to use the quick setting actually, so it sets quickly, and then just drop in there, and look at that, it's fallen out. I think it's probably not gone in the hole, is why I thought it was a prick in the top hat. There we go, so they are quite a snug fit. So it's probably best to get them on and probably grab a pair of wide tweezers, like these here from Dave Coley, and push them in from the bottom rather than the top to save the risk of snapping them off. So that's roughly at 45 degrees, so we'll take the metal out and then we can get it all stood up. No doubt we can pull them all back and get them stood vertical once they're dry. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 here to go in. So I'm going to put 4 on here. You can see how fiddly this is. And I'm looking now, I'm thinking what I've done, I've left a bit of a sprue nib on the bottom of there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my magnifier and I'm going to get all these cut off to the right length, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I had a little brainwave. I thought to make sure these are all the same length, because we don't want them all going like this, do we? I thought what I'll do is I'll cut them all off the sprue and then put them on this piece of 0.3 wire. I've used 0.3 so it's not too tight. I've got a piece of 0.5 here, but it's a bit too snug and I don't really want it that tight. So I've got a little, this is a little Games Workshop vise, so I can put that in there now. In fact, I'll do it the other way up. Close that up a bit. So I can lay them in there. And there we go. I ended up putting a piece of tape across them. A piece of masking tape. And then I was able to keep them all sort of pretty much parallel. And I've sanded them all now. In fact, you could probably do it without the vise. Yeah, do it without the vise, look. Just sand them all just to get them all down to the same length. And then I'm just going to take a little bit off the sides just to reduce their size a little bit because they are quite tight. And then we should be able to peel this tape away. Just like so, there we go. That's the tape gone. So now we've got all our stanchions on that piece of wire ready to go on. So I only need, was it 1, 2, 3, 4 for here. So what we could do, in fact we could keep this tape on here, pull the tape up to this end, pull the stanchions up to this end should I say, like that, put the tape on them, like that, and then I need 4, I can take those last ones. Oh, and I've pulled the bloody wire out, what a clown. Never mind. Right, so we need 4. This is how things go wrong on screen. Right, so I need 4 in there, so that's 1 in there, 1 in there. Here's that one kind of clip in. 1 in there. And 1 in, this is where the problem lies. They're not parallel. Oh dear, so what we can do is just do like 2 at a time. Well, I don't know. I'm just going to have to do them normally, aren't I? My great idea is turned into a stupid idea because it won't work. So there we are. Okay, so in the end I've come up with how to do this or how I'm going to do this, and it's just really to make sure I get the holes in the right orientation. Obviously if the holes down here were facing that way, the rope would be going like this, zigzagging in and out, so I want them all straight. So all I'm doing, I'm putting a drop of glue into the hole where the stanchion's going to go, and then using the piece of wire to make sure the hole in this case is going across. Just do that, and then I can pull the wire back, come along to the next one, put some glue in the hole, and then make sure the wire's not going to hit the next stanchion, and just put that one in like that and slide it back. So now I know they're all in the right orientation, and then get them sort of right, and then once the glue has started to gel off, we can eye it up and make sure they're all vertical and everything's good, just like so. Remember, they're not square to the top, they're vertical. So and the Japanese with their precision and everything, I expect they were very, very good. There we go. So, and then now that's in the right position, I can just take another drop. There we go. You can hear those rangefinders rattling around in there. So we just got to go along now with these last couple here, one up there, and that's it. Done. So they're all glued in now. And what I'm going to do now is go around with extra thin rather than quick setting, because I'll show you something now. It's so warm today. Right, if I take that brush, okay, I've just taken that brush out of there, and I give that just a few seconds. It's as dry as a bone. It's unbelievable how quick it's evaporating. So I would imagine all those joints are probably quite dry. So I'm going to go around with ordinary extra thin and just dab that in and then leave them to dry for a couple of hours and let it set and go hard. The other thing, you should have 3 left over. I've got 2 left over because if you remember I had that broken one. And what I've done, this is becoming very difficult to handle. What I've done is come along and taped them underneath the turret like that. So we know that at some time in the future you're probably going to get a couple broken off, so you've got those spares there ready to use should you want them. So that's what I thought I'd do, so there's a little idea for you there. So I'm going to go around with some extra thin now, get it on there, leave it dry for a few hours, then I'm going to get it all painted grey, and then we can come back and start working on these blast bags, I think. And there we are, all painted grey, all looking lovely. I've had to go around these bits of photo etch here. I've made a complete and utter mess of this. partly because I should have stopped and waited to get some new super glue. The only one I have is this one here, the no nonsense stuff, because the other one, this one here, I cannot get the lid off, and it just dries in about half a second, so it's useless for this. But basically what Takom have done is given you these tiny little indentations in the surface. No real peg. I mean, what I wish they'd done is given us longer pegs. You know, in hindsight, if I built another one of these, I wouldn't use them. I'd scratch build it. I'd put some little posts in there and put some across, because this photo etch is horrible and I've made a complete mess of it. If you look at it close up, you can see down in there, it's, you know, it's not nice at all. If I could weather it and cover it in dust and stuff and dirt like that, then I could hide it, but I'm not going to. So yeah, not at all happy with how that's come out. 50-50. I mean, I've messed it up, but also I don't think it's a very nicely designed feature. I've now got the Bismarck turret as well, which I've done a review on, an inbox review, and it's nice to see that these are actually moulded in plastic on that kit, so it's going to be a lot easier, a lot nicer to get a job, and it's going to look more realistic, because basically these are round bars in sort of, you know, very much like these stanchions here, but they're just featureless flat photo etch. They're horrible, horrible. So yeah, I wish I hadn't bothered putting them on, to be honest. But anyway, it is what it is. Another issue with the kit, they give you a reel of, where is it here, like a nylon fishing line for using for the rope around your stanchions, which is completely ridiculous. It's rubbish. It's going to be no use whatsoever, because it won't sort of fly and you can't get it around corners and that. So I've got this stuff here, which is it came from Little Cars many years ago, and this is a 0.25 cotton covered copper. So it's 0.25 copper with cotton on it, and as you can see, it's like a nice sort of cloth covered thing, so it looks like rope. The trouble is, once you get this sort of bend in it, you know, it's very difficult to get it out, and it's very difficult to get a constant sort of droop between the stanchions. So I'm not really going to use that either. So I've got some Easy Line here. This is the Easy Line Heavy. Biggest disadvantage with that, it's not particularly round. It's just it's like a flat section. So at the moment I'm kind of stuck. I don't really want to do any of it, and what I'd like to do is repair all this rubbish around here. But kind of, I don't know what to do. If any of you can suggest a material I could use in here that will remain straight, will go round corners, so you know it doesn't sort of do this. It needs to sort of hang from there. You know, if I hold this one here, it needs to sort of hang like that. It's no good having it. It needs to be like it's got the weight of the rope pulling it round. Excuse me. And I really don't know what to do. But you know, I'm not happy. It needs to be like that and then have some sag in it. So you know, I'm not really sure where to go with this. If any of you guys can suggest in the comments below what to try or where to go, I'd be happy to try it. You know, things like cotton are going to be no good, because they're not going to want. They have. I've tried lead wire, and that's hopeless. It just wants to, you know, distort, and it needs to be nice and straight and flow. I really don't know what to do. Sort of almost better having nothing on there at all, really. But anyway, so what I need to do now is get these. I'll get all this off of here, and I need to get these blast bags painted. And there we go, guys. There she is, all done. And other than the railings, obviously. And I'm really happy. If you don't know how I did this, if you remember, this was painted first of all with Mr. Surfacer white. I then went over it with some brown, game colour, leather brown, I think it is, yeah, beastie brown. Okay, very thin. Just brushed that on and then wiped it off with a cotton bud. Then I've gone over with some dark brown oil wash, the Modeller's World one, and then wiped that off. And then I've dry brushed it with some Mr. Surfacer white just to get the highlights back. And what I'm after is I don't want a weathered, dirty, used look. What I just want it to look like is not white or brown. I want it to look like a piece of cloth, which is what it is basically. And that's sort of what I've been trying to achieve. So you can see there we've got the effect. I've just noticed something I haven't done is fitted these guards, these little grates that go on the bottom, and these actually go underneath the blast bags. like so. And they, come on, go in. You know you want to. These go underneath the blast bags. Oh dear, come on, let's get them in. There we go, they're in now, so you can see them at the front. And they are just literally placed in, they're not glued, they're just placed in there. So that suits me, because if I decide to weather this, I would go to town on those blast bags and make them look really dirty and grimy. But there we go, so all I've got to do now is come up with the material to do the railings with around the turret. But we can see there, she's looking lovely. I'm really pleased with how deck's come out. It may be a touch dark, but I don't mind. It's great, and I'm really happy with how it's come out. And it's been a great little mojo builder. And as I say, I've got the Bismarck turret here in the box behind me. And the thing that amazed me the most was the fact of the size. Now this is the kit here. I've done a review on it, and I'll put it up eventually. This is the Bruno, the B turret for Bismarck. And when you bear in mind these are both battleships of the same sort of era, and we know the Bismarck was such a heavy animal, such a brute. There's the Bismarck turret next to the Yamato turret. So Yamato turret. Somebody else, I've forgotten your name now, put a post on my and there's a Dragonfell video that tells you how to explain, how to describe Japanese ships. And apparently if you sort of take it in letters, two lots of letters, then you're laughing, sort of blocks of two letters, so it's Yamato, like that. And yeah, so there you go. So there we are. So I'm happy now, all that's done, and I am going to straight away get stuck into that Bismarck one. I'll still be doing some work on the F-18, and I think once the Bismarck one's done, we'll get back on that Lancaster and get that finished as well. So these are great little kits for building your mojo. They're not that expensive. I mean, the retail's quite high. I paid like 56 quid, I think it was, for this one, which, you know, for that money, it's quite a nice display piece, and it's different. That's the thing, it's different. We've also got a brass plaque to go on here, but I probably won't use it. So also painted at the end of the gun barrels there with like a steel colour, even though you can't really see it. There is rifling in there, which is nice. But on the whole, really, really pleased. But please, guys, let me know what I can try for these railings. And suggestions, ideas are great, but I'd like to know really what you've used and what works for you, because otherwise I could end up spending £100 on stuff and none of it actually works. As I say, I'm not happy with the Easy Line because of its shape. Lead wire is very, very difficult to straighten out because these things are very, very flimsy. So if they were metal, I could sort of pull the lead wire between them, but if I did that, they just snap off. So anything that doesn't sort of naturally just stay straight is very difficult to use. But the thing, I want it to sag, I don't want it to stay straight. But I may be stuck with having it stay straight, in which case I may just use some plastic rod. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon for some more video entertainment. So thanks for watching, and bye for now.